guys ready? Well, it's spring here today in the Midwest, which basically means, it's like 42 degrees out, but the sun makes it feel way warmer. We're in our shorts, t-shirts. I've seen a few people. That's kind of how it goes here. But I'm about to get back at it a little bit, start to go outside now, see what things are looking like, and show you what some of that's going to be. It's probably going to happen over the next couple days. As all the snow melts, then I'll be able to show you what's going on. But I'm going to get started on some things today, which I'm extremely excited about because I've been stuck in my four walls of my office for almost all of this winter time here, and I haven't seen the lawn for quite some time, so it's amazing to get outside. So I see my first little sign of snow mold here. Nothing too terrible. I've seen some as well in the backyard, just a couple of spots of it, but it looks like nothing too major to where I'll be able to rake all this out. But we'll wait for all the snow to melt until I show you all of that stuff and what kind of snow mold damage I might have. Typically I have a little bit of snow mold damage, but nothing too terrible to where, it hasn't recovered in the past or anything like that. Some of you might also be wondering why I look a little different than probably the last time you saw me at the end of last season. I reluctantly agreed to beat Knorr in a mullet contest, and that's going to be going down, I think we agreed on the first mow of the season. So we let our hair go after the season ended last year all the way until now. This hideous thing that's going on right here is going to obviously beat him though. I've got to keep that going for a little while longer. That is the reason though, in case you're wondering. So let's give this just a couple more days, I think, of some decent weather. We should have more of the lawn to show you, and then I'll give you a tour around the whole thing. Alright, so today I'm back. I wanted to show you kind of the state of things as more snow has melted. Wanted to actually walk out here very gently right now in the backyard. It's still, of course, kind of soft, and some areas still have snow on them, so there's definitely some kind of frozen ground still going on. So I'm going to tread very lightly on all of this. I don't want to go too crazy, but there's a couple things that I already saw that I need to show you. A couple things that are of concern, a few other areas that are not really concerning, but just kind of probably something that you guys are dealing with as well. So first thing would be kind of a first look at the fescue, which of course this is the first year after planting it last fall that I get to see how does it come out of winter time, what is it really looking like, and then definitely I would say it looks a little more matted down than my bluegrass. Of course I have bluegrass right next to it still, so I can show you the differences, but they're basically the same kind of amount of snow, maybe a little more on a certain areas here. So I can kind of show you what those look like compared to the bluegrass right next to it. All right, so you'll notice here basically the same amount of snow that was up there was sitting on here until about yesterday. And so this is bluegrass back here. You will just notice, yes, it still looks matted down. It's just not quite exactly the same look in terms of how much it's matted down. It should be pretty easy here to rake this up as well and get some airflow down into there once this dries out. You might also remember last year there was a patch over in this area that died off from summer drought, and I just let it go. You can see there's some weeds in here. There's some definite things that are still lingering, and over here, still a big dead spot. I wanted to see what would happen after wintertime, how much of that's going to recover during the springtime, just sort of as an experiment here. Obviously, I've had different spots in my bluegrass before that have had issues, and of course it fills in, but it does take some time. All these matted down areas of grass here. It looks very, very matted down. There is some amount of snow mold on there. You kind of see some of these spots that look, kind of like there's some fuzzy stuff on there, and that is some snow mold, but it mainly looks like it's just up on top of these grass blades. So I think once it's not too wet and once I'm not going to do any damage, I'll come out here with a rake. I'll lightly start raking some of this up, get some airflow down in there, and also just remove a lot of that matting and kind of grossness that's there. Now I might try a little spot today out here in the middle. It's definitely much drier than some of these corners that are still holding on to the snow, so I should be able to do a slight light raking out there and kind of show you what it might look like once you actually get to start doing some raking. Basically, since about January 1st or so, I had not seen the lawns. That gives you a good idea there about the amount of time that it was under the snow cover. So you can see when I'm walking around here, I'm just sinking in. There's so many trails through this little area that a lot of spots I'm just sinking down in with my shoes. And that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to kind of deal with, see what kind of extensive damage has been done. So on this section over here is probably where most of the extensive amount of trails are at. And I don't know if as though I have an exact plan right now as to what I'm going to do. I mean, maybe I might come in here with my roller and try to roll over some of this area, flatten it back out as much as I can. It is just littered with these small trails and they all smash down and it is a mess. So moles are an absolute pain to deal with, and I'm not going to know the extent of the damage until the rest of the snow is gone. I can get a whole good assessment on hopefully that they didn't eat through all the roots here of all these areas, or things might not be too good. All right, so here's an area that has dried out. You know, it's still soft enough. Again, don't go too crazy, but if you want to see sort of what the raking will do, I just wanted to take one spot here and just lightly, you can kind of see how easy that is. It's not difficult. You can see all these matted areas that just need a little light raking and they'll come back to life here. Also, if you look really closely here, you're gonna see quite a bit of green coming back to life here. Pretty excited about that. Looking at the low-cut turf, it honestly looks fantastic. I'm extremely pleased with how it came out of wintertime. Everything still looks very thick, very healthy. There's really not a whole lot that I'm dealing with except some little earthworm mounds, which is very typical. Even last year, before we had snow, there was quite a bit of a period there where I wasn't mowing anymore. And of course, when you do mow, you're kind of hitting those mounds every once in a while, but because I wasn't mowing end of the year, I noticed some of those little earthworm mounds were kind of building up. So I think some of it is there from that point still, but otherwise this is not going to take too long to get back to mowing form. The leveling looks like it held really well. I'm going to be doing another round of sand, at least that's what I plan on doing yet. Once it's starting to actively grow, that's probably when I'm going to get out here and do that. You can still see I actually have some stripes going on here, which is always funny to see once the snow melts when you still have some stripes going on. So definitely with those rollers on the reel mower consistently giving us a great stripe, then those things just hold on even when the grass turns brown and dormant and comes back out after winter. So that's kind of cool, but this just still looks fantastic. It hasn't thinned out at all. You know, the only thing you ever really worry about would be, was there really low temperatures, getting a lot of wind burn or something like that. But for the most part though, I don't really see anything here that's alarming to me at all. It's not going to be too much more time, consistent sun, get some rain and everything going too. It's going to look awesome. Then of course you probably have the worst area of anything, which is out by the road. Gets all of your road debris. They don't really use a ton of salt in the town that I'm in. They mainly use more sand and kind of a mix like that, so it's all over the place right now. It's definitely all into here, and basically what I do is I just get out my blower as soon as all the snow is melted off of here and I can walk on it, and I just try to get the debris off of there. Sometimes I use a rake too, as much as I possibly can. You'll never get everything. It'll kind of work down into your yard too a little, and you won't hit it with the mower as soon as it gets down to the soil, but it's kind of where I'm at right there with that, and not too much damage or anything. It's just kind of a pain. And finally over here on this side, we've got bluegrass mono stands. Again, color has stayed a little darker than the rye, probably though because it also had more snow cover on it for more time frame. This being the north side of my house, it doesn't get a lot of sun, and also it piles up against this fence here as sort of a natural stop. It looks good so far. I don't see any major issues, but I'm waiting to see the rest of this snow come off of here, see if there's anything else under there as far as major issues, but should be good. So definitely check out some more of my spring videos from previous seasons if you'd like to see kind of similar things and what happened and what I did with them if I was having any issues and things like that. But otherwise, things are moving along quickly here. We're kind of in a fall spring, possibly. You just never really know if it's a fall spring or if it's actual true warm weather that's here to stay. So either way, things are finally getting closer. I'm glad that you guys are all here along for the ride this season. I have a lot of fun stuff coming up, a lot of cool content that is planned, and so thank you again for joining me this season, and thanks so much for watching this video. I'll see you next time.